Hey there, Amanda here. Let's talk about fall desserts. Fall is my favorite season. Everything about it, I love the desserts, I love the spices that you cook with. Everything fall, I'm just obsessed with. I think it's because I grew up in Florida where we didn't have that many seasons, so anytime I get to experience anything fall, I'm totally happy. So let me show you my favorite fall dessert. It's an apple and blackberry crumble. Okay, so first we need about 3 pounds of apples. I like using Granny Smith apples just because they hold up better when you cook them, but if you had other types of apples, that work just as well. So we're gonna peel the outside, and then we're gonna chop it into cubes. Try and get as most of the skin off as you can, but it doesn't have to be perfect. One of the great parts of these desserts is it's a little more rustic. Everything goes into a pan and then is cooked, and it's topped with a crumble, so you can kind of get away with being a little lax on the details. I love the combination of apples and blackberries. The tartness from the apples and the sweetness from the blackberries is wonderful. And I love also the color contrast. You've got kind of the white, green apples and also those dark, beautiful blackberries. If you don't like blackberries or don't have them, totally fine, just skip that. But it's kind of like a unique surprise to put in the traditional apple dessert. And then to this bowl of apples, I'm gonna add about a pint of blackberries. You could also use frozen blackberries. I would make sure they're defrosted before you put them in. And then we're gonna add about a half a cup of brown sugar. We're gonna add 3 tablespoons of cornstarch, and then a teaspoon or a teaspoon and a half of cinnamon. It's totally up to you. It's your preference. And then just a touch of nutmeg. Nutmeg is one of those spices that you don't really wanna taste, but you wanna know that it's there. It's helping to boost the other flavors in the crumble. So I put about 1/4 of a teaspoon in. And then lastly, a big pinch of salt. And then to that, we're gonna add some lemon zest and the juice of a lemon. We want about a tablespoon of the zest and then the whole juice of the lemon. And I just kind of eyeball it straight into the dessert. That should be perfect. And then I'm just gonna cut it in half and then just juice it directly in there. So we've got all of our ingredients in this bowl and we're just gonna give it a big stir. You wanna make sure to incorporate everything. You want that sugar and the lemon zest to kind of cover everything. Just make sure it's really well incorporated. You have the sweetness from the fruit and the berries. You also have the sweetness from the brown sugar. The lemon zest and the lemon juice just kind of balances everything along with the salt. So you can't forget those parts. Give it a big stir. Don't be afraid to snack as you go. I like to taste, especially my crumbles, just to make sure that everything is balanced, that there's enough sweetness, that there's enough salt. So as long as there's nothing raw in there, just don't be afraid to kind of stick your hand in there and take a little snack. Okay, let's make the topping for this crumble. I like adding nuts to the top of my crumble just to kind of give that extra texture and taste. Hazelnuts are my all-time favorite. They go really well with all types of fall desserts, especially apples. So I'm gonna add about 1/2 of a cup in there. Hazelnuts are notoriously hard to peel sometimes, so I actually just tried blanching them, and it's a super easy way to get those skins off. If you can't find blanched hazelnuts at the grocery store, you can blanch them yourself just with a little baking soda and boiling water, and the skins just pop off. It was amazing. I can't believe I've only just learned this. So let's pulse that together. You don't want to get them completely ground, but you want to get them a little more manageable, a little more bite-sized for your mouth. You could also do this with your hands in a bowl if you don't have a food processor. I like using a food processor because it kind of speeds up everything and uniformly distributes all the ingredients, but if you don't have a food processor, it's not a big deal. So to that, we're going to add a cup of flour. We're gonna add a cup of brown sugar. You can use granulated sugar. I like brown sugar just because it goes with that kind of fall dessert theme, but it's totally up to you. And about 1/2 cup of oats. Let's give that a quick spin just to combine it. And a pinch of salt. You can't forget salt when it comes to desserts. It just balances everything and kind of brings out the other ingredients in the dessert. And lastly, 1½ sticks of cold, unsalted butter that I cubed up. We're gonna pulse that until the mixture kind of gets thick and it sticks together when it's pinched with our hands. Okay, perfect. Everything is generally mixed together and it becomes kind of like a soft dough, and we're basically gonna sprinkle that all over our dessert. Great, so let's assemble. So I'm gonna bake this crumble in a pie dish. You can bake it in anything you want. I like a pie dish just because you're not gonna change the dessert, or you're not gonna move the dessert from what you're serving it in. So you wanna make sure you're using a pretty dish or a pretty bowl. So we're gonna add all of our apples and blueberry mixture right into the pie. I'm gonna spread it out, make sure it's even. And you can already tell that the blackberries are kind of starting to turn the apples that pretty pink color. It is gonna be a gorgeous dessert. So what's the difference between a crisp and a crumble? Well, honestly, there's not much of a difference. It's basically referring to any dessert that has a fruit bottom and it's baked with some sort of floury, doughy stuff on top. I'm calling it a crumble, but you can call it a crisp. But it's not a cobbler. A cobbler has biscuits on top. And then we're just gonna scatter that topping right over it. And I love the top of crisps or crumbles, so make sure you're liberal with the topping. You can never have too much topping, right? Not in my book. It's perfect for any fall night or any fall dinner you have, but it's also really great for Thanksgiving. Desserts are one of the things that kind of take the longest to make. If you made this a day before your Thanksgiving dinner, you can make it, just keep it at room temperature on the counter, and then serve it when you're ready. I have a 350-degree oven preheated, and it's gonna cook for about 45 to 50 minutes, or until the apple and blueberry mixture starts to bubble, and the top is brown. My crumble is out of the oven, and it looks amazing and smells delicious. Let's dig on in. And when you pull it out of the oven, you can tell that it's done. Obviously, the crumble on top is a golden brown, but you can see that some of the blackberries and the juices from the apples have kind of started to bubble and caramelize and come together, and that means that they're ready to go. The crumble is a little bit crispy on top, and then the filling is juicy and delicious. Okay, let's give it a taste. I love this pink color. When you bake the blackberries, the pink kind of explodes all over the apples and gives this gorgeous pink color. It's everything I want in a fall dessert. You have the spices, the warm spices of the nutmeg and the cinnamon, paired with the apple and the blackberry for a little brightness. It is delicious. And then top of that buttery crumble, it's heaven, literally, in a dessert. If you've enjoyed watching this video, make sure to click below to subscribe and tune in every week as I post a new recipe video.